What if I told you the credit card in your wallet, the same piece of plastic you probably use every week, could be the single biggest difference between growing wealth and quietly bleeding it away? Here's the thing. The rich don't just use credit cards. They master them. They swipe the same cards you do. They walk into the same stores, book the same flights, fill their cars at the same gas stations. But while most people are racking up interest and wondering where their money went, the wealthy are collecting rewards, stacking perks, flying for free, and getting paid simply for spending money they were already going to spend. This isn't some hidden conspiracy. It's not even a secret. It's just a different game. And today, I'll show you exactly how the rich use credit cards to build wealth, not debt. And I'll walk you through the mindset shift that flips your card from a liability into a financial asset, so you can start playing to win, starting today. Most people use credit cards the wrong way, not because they're lazy, but because they were never taught the rules. You get a card, maybe a $5,000 or $10,000 limit, and suddenly, it feels like extra money. You swipe it for an emergency, or to cover a tight week before payday. You tell yourself, I'll pay it off next month. But then, life happens. Something else breaks. The balance grows, and soon, you're in the hole. And here comes the kicker, interest. The average American pays more than 22% annual percentage rate on carried balances. That's not a typo. Think about this. Most professional investors would be thrilled with a 10% return, but millions of people are essentially giving away double that return to banks, just for the privilege of owing them money. The result? In one recent year, Americans paid over $150 billion in credit card interest and fees. That's more than the GDP of many small countries. And it's money that didn't go towards savings, retirement, or building a business. It just vanished, sucked out of everyday wallets and into corporate profit margins. This isn't just inefficient. It's tragic, because credit cards can be powerful tools, just not the way most people use them. But now let's flip the script. How do the rich use credit cards? Simple. They don't borrow, they leverage, they never carry a balance, because they don't see a credit card as a loan. To them, it's just a tool, a smarter, safer way to spend money they already have. They don't even care what the limit is. Whether it's $5,000 or $50,000, it doesn't matter. The only number that matters is their bank balance. If the cash isn't already there, they don't swipe. Why? Because for them, credit cards are delivery systems for rewards, protections, and value. Every dollar they spend is a chance to get something back. Cash back, travel points, upgrades, fraud protection, airport lounge access, trip insurance, even investment perks. They don't just use their cards, they optimize them. A wealthy traveler might use 3 different cards, one for 5 times points on dining, another for 3 times on flights, and one for groceries or gas. Then, this is key, they transfer those points to airline and hotel programs, stretching their value by 5 to 10 times. A $500 flight, they might book it for 12,000 points, points they earned just by buying groceries, and they don't flinch at annual fees. They calculate the ROI. If a $550 card gives $1,200 in perks, they're ahead. They treat cards like investments, because that's exactly what they are. Let's talk about what's holding most people back, because the biggest mistakes aren't about which card you have. They're about how you think about it. Mistake number 1, treating your credit card like free money. When you treat a credit card like extra income, you spend money you don't actually have. You see the credit limit as spending power, but the bank's money isn't your money. Every time you swipe with no plan to pay it off, you're volunteering to pay 20 to 30% more for that item over time. Mistake number 2, carrying a balance and paying interest. If you're earning 2% cash back but paying 22% in interest, you're not winning, you're bleeding. Mistake number 3, missing payment due dates. Just once can wreck your credit score and cost you even more in penalties. Mistake number 4, chasing rewards by spending more. Smart credit use is about efficiency, not excess. The rich don't spend for points. They collect points from what they'd spend anyway. So how do you start using your credit card the way the wealthy do? It all starts with a mindset shift. From this point on, I want you to see your credit card as a debit card with superpowers. You don't swipe it unless the cash is already sitting in your checking account. Every purchase is already paid for in your mind, even before the bill arrives. You're not borrowing. You're not floating payments. You're simply rerouting your spending through a smarter system, one that protects you, rewards you, and builds your wealth instead of draining it. The next step, automate everything. Because financial discipline isn't about willpower, it's about systems. Go into your credit card settings right now. Set up automatic payments. But here's the key. Don't set it to minimum payment. Set it to pay the full statement balance 2 or 3 days before it's due. That one move wipes out interest from your life. It safeguards your credit score, and it builds a habit of paying in full, whether you're watching closely or not. Now let's talk optimization. This is where the wealthy really start winning. Take a look at the credit cards you currently use. Ask yourself, are these cards aligned with how I actually spend? If you spend a lot on groceries or gas, you should be using a card that gives you 4 to 6% back in those categories. If you travel often, your card should offer 3 to 5 times points on flights or hotels, plus meaningful transfer partners like Hyatt or United. If your card is only giving 1% back with no perks, you're leaving money on the table. And don't be scared of annual fees. The wealthy don't ask, does this card cost money? They ask, how much value does it give me back? If a card costs $550 a year, but gives $1,200 in perks, points, lounge access, travel credits, and protection, that's not a cost, that's a profit. And finally, track what you're earning, not just passively, actively. Download tools like Max Rewards or Card Pointers to manage your cards smartly. Know which card to use where. Know when your benefits renew. Know when your points expire. And learn how to transfer your rewards for maximum value. Because the points you're earning, they're not just fluff. They can be the difference between a cheap trip and a $5,000 business class experience that cost you nothing. You might think, it's just a few dollars in rewards. Does it really matter? Let's do the math. Person A keeps using credit cards the old way. They carry a $7,000 balance, pay $1,500 in interest every year, and after 20 years, they've handed banks over $30,000. Person B uses their cards like the rich. They earn $600 a year in rewards and invest it instead of spending it. After 20 years, that grows into over $25,000 just from cashback and points. One person is $30,000 poor, the other is $25,000 richer. That's a $55,000 difference from the exact same piece of plastic. Credit cards aren't evil. They're not magical either. They're just tools. And like any tool, they can help you build something great or cost you everything if used wrong. The rich understand this. They master it. They don't play defense. They play offense. If you learned something from this video, check out the next one, where I break down why a normal $500 car payment is a lie.